I just completed the introductory lab on running SharePoint Server in AWS. I created a template that our developers can use to deploy a SharePoint instance when they need it. It saved me a lot of time, not to mention the cost savings. Thanks.
That's awesome. Have you considered moving test or production instances to the AWS cloud?
I'm interested, but concerned that building a large SharePoint farm is a lot of work. Is it easy to deploy a small SharePoint solution that is secure and stable enough for use on production sites?
Yes, you can deploy a production SharePoint server farm with as few as 2 servers. Whatever size of SharePoint farm that you build, you can use Amazon VPC to create a network topology that will ensure that your solution is secure and highly available.
What other servers are needed for a multi-server SharePoint farm?
SharePoint servers have to be members of an Active Directory domain, and a multi-server SharePoint farm also needs SQL Server. So the minimum number of servers would be 4, 2 for SharePoint, 1 for the Active Directory, and 1 SQL Server to provide the database.
How do I integrate this with Active Directory?
You have a range of options. For a test environment, you may want to build a standalone Active Directory inside your VPC. For production sites, you can extend your private on-premises network to AWS, so that the resources in the AWS cloud use your existing AD infrastructure. You can even deploy domain controllers for your existing AD forest to the AWS cloud. This ensures that the SharePoint servers deployed in AWS remain functional and available in the event of an on-premises outage. You can also use the AWS Directory Service AD connector to proxy AD requests from the cloud to your on-premise AD domain.
What options are available for the database server?
You can install SQL Server in Windows Server instances, and you can use Microsoft License Mobility through Software Assurance to bring your own licenses into the AWS cloud. Amazon Machine Images for SQL Server Express, SQL Server Web Edition, and SQL Server Standard Edition are also available for launch on AWS.
Does everything need to be in the AWS data centers? We have databases within our corporate network that we would like to keep on premises.
You can keep as much as you like on premises. You can easily create a VPC where instances in one subnet, such as web servers, communicate with the internet, while instances in another subnet, such as application servers, communicate with databases on your corporate network. An IPsec VPN connection between your VPC and your corporate network helps secure all communication between the application servers in the cloud and databases in your data center.
What if I find that the smaller solution is not sufficient to meet my needs? Will I have to deploy an entirely new SharePoint farm?
AWS CloudFormation and autoscaling make it easy to scale up and down as your needs change. You can even change the size of your farm in minutes.
Do I have to build my SharePoint farms piece by piece, or is there an easier way to build them?
AWS also provides a quick start reference guide and an AWS CloudFormation template free of charge that can be used to deploy and configure multi-server SharePoint farms, and it is ideal for deploying larger environments.
Can I modify the templates for my needs?
Sure. AWS CloudFormation templates are JSON files that specify the configuration of the AWS resources that make up your stack. You can edit the template and apply version control the same way you do with code. If you maintain a version history of your templates, you can also roll back to previous versions.
So who's using the AWS cloud for SharePoint server deployments?
Customers find it especially beneficial where the workload varies, because you can quickly scale up or down as and when required. Companies are also using AWS deployments as standby for disaster recovery. If the primary fails, the AWS deployment can be spun up quickly to take over the workload, without the need for dedicated hardware.
How much does it cost?
AWS provides a cost estimator calculator, where you can plug in the number and type of Amazon EC2 instances you plan to deploy. As usual, you only pay for what you use. There are no minimum fees and no upfront commitments. Please complete the hands-on lab for this video at run.quicklabs.com. This lab should take you approximately 90 minutes to complete.